My hat! Alright, so the truck is finally clean. The question now is, what about the electronics? I guess I could have wiped them a little better. Yeah, so if you've been following along, this truck took a dive. It decided to go swimming. I had to fish it out of a river, a very murky river, in fact. But the receiver's dead, and I mean, I'm not really surprised. A bunch of water got in it. But it's interesting. You can't really see, but this is why you need to avoid water with electronics, because here, if you look at them, you can see some. Uh, they're building up some corrosion already, and it was just a few minutes. Keep in mind, it fell in the river, and then I was trying to figure out if I could get in or not. I wasn't, so then I had to run over to the car and get my jumper cables. I actually got a shovel, took my jumper cables out as well, and the shovel didn't work, so then I ended up just using the jumper cables and just tossing one end in, pulling it, and tossing it again, and pulling it until finally I hooked one of the arms and I pulled the truck out. Man, I really got lucky. Keep in mind it was only about 2 feet deep, but the water was just really murky, so you couldn't see anything. And it's 2 feet and I'm saying about 2 feet because I was getting some sticks that were kind of long, just laying there, just kind of poking to see the depth, just in case I fell. But going back to this, this engages, it beeps, the fan is working, but this isn't lighting up. So I'm going to turn this off, and luckily I do have a spare receiver. So always keep a spare receiver or two. So keep some spare receivers. It's always good to have spares of whatever it is that you use in case you drop them in the water. And it's not really in case you drop them in the water. Just sometimes electronics get a little give out. It happens. They'll last a really long time, but sometimes they do give out. But let's see. I just realized I was plugging it into channel 1. It's supposed to go channel 2. Let me try the old receiver again. Nope, nothing. Alright, let's try the new one. Now the new one, I am going to have to bind it, and binding it is pretty simple. So this is a Futaba R203GF, and I'm using a Futaba T3PV. So just need to power it, see if power goes through. And there we go. We have a blinking LED, so that's good news. And now I just need to press and hold that little button, and boom, that's it. It's now in binding mode. I don't have the servo connected, but I'm curious. I'm just going to hold this. Okay, that worked. So the motor works. Let's power this off. And let me just plug this into channel 1. I just want to test everything before I install everything. And let's power back on. Alright, it's working. Awesome. Still going to power it off. So that is it. So the electronics do work. Again, something very important with electronics. Try to cut the power as soon as you can to them. After you cut the power, try to get as much of the water out as you can as well. Now the battery works as well. The battery is that 6,000 milliamp hour Redline battery by Gents Ace. It does have a little rubber plug, and because of the straps here, that was held tight, so no water got on the battery, luckily. And then I doused the terminals with WD-40, and then cleaned them out. So first got the water out, doused them. So that works out, which is one of the reasons why I'm glad that battery has that little plug down here, and then it just closes as that little rubber plug. But other than that, I think this truck will be fine. Just need to put everything back together, and then we're going to go to bashing, and we're not going to bash in that same area. So really what ended up happening is, well, it went in the river, but usually on the truck I use a regular short course body, and they're pretty flat. So if you look at these bodies here, let me zoom out. They're pretty flat, so as they land and they tumble, this takes a lot of the impact, but it doesn't really roll. With the beetle body, that bug, the Baja Bug, it rolls. So it ended up rolling further than it would normally roll. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I have done that same exact jump. I've made a similar mistake, and then it just kind of lands in the dirt area. But with this bug body, it just kept rolling. Now, the bug body didn't break or anything, so it's probably pretty strong. I'm still going to test it more. I'm going to try to talk to my buddy to see when he's free so we can take his ramp and just go to a park somewhere with no water and just bash there. But there we go. So my receiver, this thing's dead. So I'm going to have to use the new one. So now more e-waste here. But luckily there is a recycling facility not too far away. So I can just put this with the rest of electronics that I'm going to recycle. And this is going to be the new receiver that's going to go in here. But other than that, I'm very happy the electronics work, and I hope this little bit of advice helps you. Again, avoid submersing your vehicle in water, especially murky water, as this accidentally ended up finding itself in. But if something happens, just try to get everything dry as fast as possible. Get the electronics out, separate them. And if you carry a can of WD-40 so that you can just spray everything down with WD-40 to avoid rust. So I'll give you an example. All of these screws that I sprayed down with WD-40, they're still fine. Oops, great. These screws over here that I forgot to spray, just in trying to take the truck apart, I actually left these in a separate area. I forgot about them. Keep in mind I was panicking a little, but notice the difference. Clean screws, and these screws, not so much. I'm going to have to clean them thoroughly with a little brush, but notice how dirty these are. And some of these are already forming rust. So I'm just going to put them in an oil bath, leave them there for probably just for a day. You don't have to leave them for a day, but I'm just going to put them in there. Actually, WD-40 is very good at cleaning stuff. You can just douse them in WD-40, and then I'm just going to put them in this little container. Actually, I'll probably just dump them in this container. I have oil in there, so that'll work out. Just going to get rid of that little rag. There, problem solved. So they're in the oil, and they'll be there for a while. Perfect. And that's pretty much it. Other than that, I hope this helps. So again, I'm going to go over the steps. If you do submerge the vehicle in the water, before you get home, try to dry it with whatever you have, your jacket, a towel, carry a towel. I usually carry a brown towel, but I didn't have it with me that time. Try to dry everything out, take the electronics out. So cut the power from the electronics. First, cut the power. Then, dry everything as fast as possible. Then, douse everything with WD-40. So that's what I did to the motor bearing, everything, the screws. So notice how the screws are still nice and black. There's no rust in them. Even the pinion gear. I mean, you can see the pinion gear's not rusted. So do that. And then after that, if you want to put your electronics in a bag with rice, go for it. That's actually a pretty good idea. And then take apart the vehicle, clean everything, all the ferrous pieces, clean them piece by piece. You're going to have to disassemble the vehicle and clean everything. Make sure there's no water in the differentials as well. But that is it. Then assemble everything together once it's dry. Test the electronics. If they work, go ahead and use them. If they don't work, like my old receiver, install the new one. But anyway, other than that, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one once everything's in and I'm running it.